Hey everyone, Jim Gonzalez here, EDI Support LLC. It's another beautiful Wednesday. It's actually really hot here in Pennsylvania today. I think it's like 98 degrees. Pretty crazy, but hey, it is what it is. Rather it be sunny and hot than dreary and cold and rainy and everything else. So what we have for you in store today is our topic for today is most SMBs buy EDI software. Few build an EDI strategy. All right. So what are we talking about there? What do we think that's going to be? Do you think your current EDI setup can support growth? Think about that. If you were to increase from, 1,000 orders to 20,000 orders a week, do you think you could sustain that? Do you think you'd need a bunch of more people being hands-on in helping you to get things successfully handled? What does that look like for you? You have to understand that there's limitations to all systems. And if you're not set up appropriately, you could be running into that issue. You could be seeing an issue going on with the software not being able to handle that volume, your staff not being able to handle that volume if you're doing a lot of things with manual or human interaction. So you have to look at it. Did you choose your EDI software reactively or strategically? And what I mean by that is some people just like, I'm just going to choose who I was told to use. Or one of my competitors, I know they use X, Y, and Z, so that's who I'm going to go with. Or my trading partner told me this is who their EDI provider is, so I'm going to go with it. What some people don't understand is that trading partner, because they're the big retailer or they're the big insurance firm or whoever it may be, they chose that organization because maybe on the back end, they're actually getting their EDI service for free. And every trading partner that signs up to be interacting with them, they're actually getting a supplemental income from that. So could you imagine you get free EDI, you have a free team looking at things, and you make money every time somebody signs up with that particular organization? Listen, SPS Commerce, sometimes, from what I've heard, just what I heard, they give these major retailers free EDI, because everybody that wants to deal with that said trading partner or retailer needs EDI setups. So what do they have to do? Then they have to pay for SPS testing. So you're the little supplier, you want to deal with a major retailer, and that retailer says, hey, guess what? We're going to go ahead and we're going to say to our people, go with SPS Commerce. Well, you didn't realize SPS is giving free service to the trading partner, and you're having to pay SPS, which also in turn goes some of that to the trading partner. Again, I'm just going off of information that people have told me over the years. Have I been a part of signing those contracts between SPS and a major retailer? No. Never sat there. But I'm going off of information that I've heard numerous times from numerous people that say, hey, did you know? So there's some information for you. Well, hello, Ganesh. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining us and watching in here. So what we want to get into is why most small businesses approach EDI reactively. Think about this. A retailer asked us to become compliant. They asked us, or they mandated EDI. So they've said, hey, listen, if you want to interact with us, you have to do EDI. We don't accept, a phone call for purchase orders, fax for purchase orders. We don't accept that. Oh, you want to do a healthcare claim? I'm sorry, you can't call the insurance company and process a claim against somebody's insurance. It doesn't happen. Could you imagine how they would be inundated with all of that? So what ends up happening? People are rushing to find software. They're treating EDI like a checkbox, like, oh, we just got to check this off. We just need to get that done and taken care of. They're making short-term decisions under pressure. Nobody explained the bigger picture. A lot of people, what you'll learn, they only see, and they're narrow fit, what is in front of them or what they're responsible for, and not looking at the whole picture. And that's in EDI, that's in life, that's all over the place. So, when EDI feels technical and overwhelming, that's why people are just like, just get it done. I don't care what you have to do. Just get us EDI compliance, because this retailer is not going to do business with us if we don't do this. Well, what you don't understand is sometimes if you make the wrong choices, that relationship, no matter how small or how big it is with that retailer, can end up being a negative for you from a profit standpoint. Imagine you're paying that relationship and you're not making any money. That's not good. I'm sure all of you might have gone through this at some stage as a small business owner who is ready to launch your product in retail. I've talked with a lot of small organizations, startups that have said, hey, listen, I just need to be compliant. I just need to be EDI capable. What does that mean? Most small businesses don't plan for EDI. They just react to it. They're just like, hey, I just need to check the box and get this done. And I need to move forward. What SMBs think, they're thinking software, compliance requirement, technical project. What EDI actually is, it's an operational infrastructure. It's building out order to cash automation. It's supply chain communication. You're in transportation and logistics. Well, you're understanding the movement of the product. EDI helps with that. You're automating that aspect of things. So you have to think about, EDI isn't just software. Yes, there is a software component. It's how businesses scale operations. When you start thinking about it in the terms of growth is when the investment in EDI starts making sense. You're automating the business process. You're automating the things that you don't need to grow your staff to do. EDI affects a lot of different components in your business. How EDI impacts business growth? Well, onboarding larger retailers, handling more order volume, reducing manual work, scaling without adding headcount, improving operational efficiency. The goal isn't just to exchange documents, it's to grow without chaos. And I can tell you as a business owner, it's more chaotic the more people I have. I love my team, I love the people I work with, but the more people we add to the team, the more people that have to fit into our business model, have to fit into working relationships and dealing with different people and different personalities. I can be an extremely strong personality. I've been told that all my life. All 47 years of me being on this earth, I've been told I'm a very strong personality. And I always say to people, either you love me or you hate me. There's usually not anybody that's in between. And I'm okay with that because I shouldn't have to apologize for who I am. But EDI is along that same way, and especially when it interacts in your business, is you got to understand what's the effects. Why just buying software is not a long-term growth strategy. In fact, it's a poor strategy. Buying EDI only because the retailer forced it on you, initially, yes, everyone does that. But once you onboard a retailer and you are all set to go live, you need to start thinking about and having discussions around how we should grow from here, because EDI can open other retail channel sales for you. So when you're thinking about it, it's one of those rules that I tell people, listen, there's the here and now. There's this 2 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 10 years down the road. EDI needs to be able to evolve. Just like your company's evolving, EDI needs to evolve. Not saying that you need to switch EDI providers, but just saying, is that provider evolving with you? What does that look like? How is that evolving? How is that looking at things and going from there? A lot of people don't have long-term planning. So there is no long-term planning, when you just buying software. There's a disconnected ERP, warehouse, and EDI workflows. Onboarding trading partners one by one reactively. I've seen companies that are like, hey, I can put on one trading partner every 2 to 6 months. I'm like, whew, that's not good. What happens when your product takes off? What happens when you're now a great transportation and logistics organization and all of a sudden everybody wants to start using your trucks? Because there's things that are going on in the transportation world when it comes to safety. Well, all of a sudden, that one by one reactively becomes 5 to 10 relationships where you're like, hey, what are we doing? We got to get this up and going. You have manual processes everywhere. Nobody owns it internally. You're unclear visibility into errors and failures. Choosing providers in haste or only based on price. Price is a very important consideration. And that's why we built Elevate, to keep it affordable for small businesses, but not the only criteria. Like, I had to think of what have I done throughout my consulting career, and help people build their own custom software for EDI, or installed a piece of software for handling EDI, and then we built out their workflows and all of those things. It's a lot of years and culminations of putting in the thoughts up to Elevate, how to keep it at that high standard of customer service, pricing that makes sense. Again, you have to make profit in order to keep an organization around, but it doesn't need to be at the haste of a relationship, So treating EDI as an IT task instead of business infrastructure. EDI is business infrastructure. It's not just the IT staff. I had a very good conversation yesterday with talking to a very large, well-known organization. And we were talking about how EDI really is an effect of daily operations and also project management. They have some daily ops that they're doing with flowing of the EDI, some manual stuff that we're trying to help them correct, some inefficiencies in their ERP and all of those things. And it happens to small companies and large companies. So we're looking at actually breaking apart the team that's helping them and saying, hey, listen, some of these team members are falling into the daily court and some are falling into operational. Well, maybe that's one person's hat for both right now, or no person and you're outsourcing it. But understand that over time, it does get segmented. It does need to be broken apart. It's the easiest way of managing it. And these are things that I'm learning also along the ways with my own small business. There's a hidden cost of poor EDI strategy. That's onboarding delays, chargebacks, delayed payments, retailer frustration, operational inefficiencies, and internal firefighting. There's always a fire that you got to put out. You roll from one fire to another. Sometimes you have multiple fires in a day. Some days it's great. There's no fires. Well, don't get comfortable, because guess what? There's going to be something that's going to come out there. You have to tie it to money and growth. If there's one thing that I say, no matter if it's in the EDI world, in this business, as an investor of different businesses, just being an entrepreneur, it's either going to cost you time or money or both. There's no way of getting away from either one of those. It's either time or money or both in everything you do. So what a scalable EDI strategy actually looks like: clear onboarding roadmap, understanding document flow, ERP plus warehouse plus EDI coordination, putting all those teams and groups together, even if it ends up being one person in the beginning, that's going to most likely lead into multiple people. Planning for future trading partners. Hey, we have an initiative. Our sales team is really driving the force of making us become predominantly known for this particular product, or for drug manufacturing, or for supplementals of the drugs, whatever that looks like. You got to plan for what does that future look like, because maybe your sales team has like, we want to go after 200 new accounts this year, or 20 accounts, or 5 accounts, or 2 accounts, or maybe there's just 1 account that you really want to go after because that's what your product is geared for. It all depends. Having that flexibility as the business grows, being able to pivot, choosing the right EDI model for your business. It's going to help you all day long in your scalability. So you're sitting there and you're going, all right, which one's the best? Fully managed EDI, typically best for SMBs, lean teams, no internal EDI expertise, or very limited EDI expertise. These are people that want to be hands off and hand over the reins because they got other things that they got to worry about. And that's where they're running with. Hybrid could be an iPaaS, like a Boomi, best for growing mid-market companies wanting more control. They want their hands on, they want all of those things. So maybe you're not doing a hybrid because listen, I got the team, I got the technical team, we're developing software, we're doing all these things. Why can't we learn how to configure an iPaaS and do an EDI relationship? Well, you just need a team that's external, maybe EDI Support LLC, that can help consult and teach you what to do. In-house EDI is best for enterprises with dedicated teams. Not every business needs full control of EDI. Some just need it handled correctly. And I've found that it's happened with small businesses and very large businesses. So don't feel as though those categories that I just described, you're going to fit in, because maybe you're a highly technical team of 5 people, small company, but you could handle doing EDI in-house. You could handle building out and using an iPaaS like a Boomi. Or maybe that's not your forte and you're like, I'd rather use Elevate and let my team let them do this. We're focused on this other stuff. Depends on what you're looking for. I know my team with Elevate can grow with you. We can do the whole small businesses where we're focused, SMBs. We're also going to be built out that we can take on enterprises. And we're right on the cusp of that. I'm a person that I like to crawl, walk, run. We did the crawling. Now we're walking, and we're soon about to be able to run. And I'll make that call once we're ready to run. But what smart SMBs do differently, they become EDI ready early. They start having the conversations. They reach out to companies like ours. We start talking about things. Knowing that if you're in the retail space and you're selling products, or manufacturing or distributing or logistics and transportation, if you really want to have a growth plan, start having a conversation with companies like ours. You're thinking long-term. You're not thinking what's the here and now. You're aligning your internal workflows so that you can understand what does that internal workflow looks like? How is it documented? How do other people understand that workflow? How can we automate it and make that workflow a little bit more efficiently through some minor tweaks? Or talking with teams that are ERP consultants. Again, we always tell people, listen, we're not your subject matter expert when it comes to an ERP or your business process or manufacturing or distribution or pharmaceuticals or whatever that looks like. Do we have a lot of experience in that? Yes, we do. I did that for a particular reason on my team so that when people say, oh, well, they only do retail. Well, they only do transportation. We have a very collective mix on my team, and that's for a reason, because it starts with the top. I don't know everything and I don't know it all, but I've been mixed in on a lot of different things because I've never said, I can't do that or I can't figure it out. I can figure it out if I have the time. I want that same mentality with the people that are on my team. And we have that. So we're a small but very mighty team when it comes to that. How do you want to base your company when you do things? So you got to prioritize your support and onboarding. You got to look at, how is my partner flexible? My EDI provider, how are they flexible? How is the team that's helping me set up Boomi? How are they flexible? Can I outsource it? Can I eventually bring it hybrid? Can I eventually bring it in-house? You can do all of that with Boomi with us. Elevate is totally us. I'm not handing over keys to the kingdom when it comes to Elevate. We're going to empower you as much as possible when it comes to Elevate, but setting up trading partners, doing those relationships, configuring the connections to your ERPs, WMS, TMS systems, that's all on us, because that's what we do. If you want something different, again, that's not us. Those are your essentially two avenues when you're dealing with EDI support. I can give you information on the other ones that are out there. The others that are in the world of EDI. So the future of EDI for SMBs, automation expectations increasing. Things are getting faster, moving faster, all of those things. AI is a part of that. But don't think because people talk about AI that they're the gold standard. Well, I can tell you some of these companies that have been doing this EDI bit for a long time have mixed in AI, and it's become a mess. They're assigning tickets to the wrong customers, they're wrong trading partners, all of these things because their AI is not that smart. So just because they say they've mixed in AI doesn't mean they've done it successfully. Retailers expecting operational maturity. They don't care if you're a one-person team. They want a one-person team working just like a 1,000-person team. So understand that. Understand you need people in your corner that are going to help you look that way. It's that fake it or make it. Fake it till you make it. Looking bigger than what you are. With the right people and the right partners, you can do that in the EDI world. APIs plus EDI hybrid models. So there's going to be different trading partners and different retailers and healthcare companies and all of these things that are going to want you to not only connect to them, maybe using APIs for maybe inventory, but then they're going to want you to handle purchase orders through EDI. So maybe you have a hybrid approach in how you're interacting with them. Can your EDI provider do that? Can your iPaaS solution do that? Can the team that's helping you with your iPaaS do that? Again, this is where we're focused. We're hyper focused on these things. Supply chains end up moving faster and faster and faster. And that's because as customers and as consumers, we want information faster. We want to click on a product online and have it at our doorstep today, because guess what? We all have been ingrained in the FOMO, fear of missing out. It's crazy. As I've said, I have 3 daughters and I see it all the time because their ages are ranging from the 20s to their teens, and I see it all the time. When they want something, they want it now, they want it today, they don't want to wait on it on the future. Isn't the internet supposed to be that responsive? EDI is the same way when it comes into supply chains. So my closing thoughts, small businesses that have the right systems in place and automate earlier, usually that scale faster than others. EDI shouldn't become part of your strategy after growth. It should help to create your growth. Think about that. Think about how that sets in with your mentality and when it comes to EDI. Again, we're here, we're helping, we're not perfect. We try to help as much as possible. I would love any insight, comments, liking us, following us, checking us out on YouTube, following us on LinkedIn. Look at some of the things that we post on Reddit, our Discord server. All of these things are out there to help you educate in the EDI, API, and integration world. I will be here into the future, hopefully sharing advice, sharing information. I will see you on another Wednesday. Again, stay cool out there, especially if you're in Pennsylvania, because it's like 98 degrees today, which is crazy for us in May. Jim Gonzalez, EDI Support LLC. Thank you, and I will talk with all of you later.
Meet Elevate, the modern cloud-based EDI platform designed for growing businesses that may or may not have EDI experience and deserve better. No installs, no servers, just secure real-time EDI that works for you anywhere. Get EDI compliant with 200 plus retailers like Walmart, Target, Chewy.com, Amazon, and more without the hassle of endless back and forth. Elevate automates every document, from purchase orders to shipment notices to invoices, so you can focus on fulfillment, not formatting. We set up your trading partners, map your data, and test every connection end to end. Once approved by your trading partner, you go live quickly and confidently. Have an ERP? You can now easily connect Elevate with your ERP via APIs, CSV, or XML, or use any flat files. All systems will now talk to each other. And when you need help, you get real humans, not bots. We're your EDI team, start to finish. Transparent pricing, no contracts. EDI that actually works for you. Elevate your business today with EDI that cares.